Our heroes have traveled across the astral sea. They started with a simple scam on Mappa 66 and were brought to the Aegis, where they were tasked with keeping the representatives safe. After preparing for the summit at the Fëanor Piazza, the time has finally come. The summit is today. It's happening right now in Echo. And now, a word from a friend of the show.
Hey there, fellow D&D and TTRPG nerds. Kayla Lundgren here from the Potions and Potpourri podcast. I'm here to tell you all about our little talk show, where myself and my co-host Keisha get together to have discussions about Dungeons & Dragons and other tabletop games. While our show is primarily a casual, loosely formatted talk show, we also like to dip our toes into the occasional live play game, interview guests from all across the indie TTRPG realm, and have even been known to do some in-house improv creations on our segments that we call Potions. So whether you're a new D&D player looking for some solid advice on character building, or you're a seasoned dungeon master wanting more ideas for how to beef up your monsters to truly scare your players, Potions and Potpourri has a little something for everyone. Find us on all major podcasting platforms, and be sure to visit us on Instagram, TikTok, or X for more goofy content and sharing our passion with our listeners for this great hobby that we all love. We hope to see you there.
Now let's play some fucking D&D. It has been a very long week waiting around Haven, and you've connected more to one another and to your new weapons. You've had the time to rest and recuperate from your time being locked in the isolate and being captured by the captain. And the time for the summit has finally come. Before the sun has even crested the horizon, the four of you are being led out of the apartment by a Loxodon concierge and brought to the hangar bay where a massive ship is waiting for your arrival. At the base of the ramp that leads into the ship, you see the four representatives surrounded by juggernauts and peace officers, all of them armed, but none of them seemingly in formation. They all look pretty bored. Ambassador Sovinus is the one who greets you all. Ah, there you are. I trust you slept well? Are you ready to head out? The summit is in a few hours and we don't want to be late.
Yeah. What ship will we be taking?
At this, the ambassador gives you kind of a cheeky little smile, and they say, have you seen the Leviathan before? And they point back at this, massive ship. It is top of the line, state of the art, all of the best technology. Pet, you would know that this is something that is for the elitist of the elite. You recognize this ship as the pinnacle of engineering prowess. And it is a ship that is very well known. It is the Aegis Leviathan 1200. There are a few different Leviathans, but the 1200 is known to be associated with the representatives.
Would I know, like, who maybe have made it? Like who would have known, or like
the manufacturer?
Yeah. Or like who made it, the ship?
Check.
Okay. History check?
Give me a history check.
All right.
Yeah, let me pull up my other DM screen because there actually is an answer to that question. With a 14, you know the parent company. You know that it is a company called Vivala Galactic. They supply arcane cores to the majority of Wildspace, and because of that, they do a lot of ship manufacturing because, the arcane cores run the ships, etc., etc. So, the parent company is Vivala Galactic, and this is a custom ship, but it's based on, like, the giant model or something like that. It's a custom ship that was commissioned by the government.
Okay. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that low whistle. You know how people do like they're impressed.
Yeah.
I feel like if you did it, if you don't like, or if you do, like, Div definitely does it upon seeing that big ass fucking tank of a ship. They do the whistle, they nod, they look at Pet, kind of give themselves eyebrows for a second, and like do the eyebrow like up and down thing.
Oh wait, I got sunglasses on, so I tilt my sunglasses down and like with the rock eyebrow, the people's eyebrow. I look at Div and I'm like, they got money.
They got money. Div will say, very impressive, Ambassador.
The ambassador gives you, you can see that their smile widens a little, and they say, I'm glad you approve. Shall we? And you see the peace officers and the Juggernaut start heading up the ramp into the ship. I would like whomever would like to, please give me either an intelligence check or a vehicle handling, like a space vehicle handling check.
Hell yeah.
Either one of those two will do.
Yeah. Do I get advantage?
And Pet, yes, you would be able to do so with advantage.
Is this to like steer, like drive the ship?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. This is an understanding of the ship itself and traveling on it. The Leviathan is a relatively well-known ship. So some of the stats are just out and about on the Arcane Network. So we're just gonna see how much you guys know about that. Space driving, 18, 21.
Plus my proficiency is +3, so it's a 24.
A 24, an 18, a 17.
Yeah. Because we've gotten up so early that Short Rib is not paying attention to any of this. Very like bleary eyed and like Glorbeck like under one arm, like.
Oh, I think Div kind of leans down and they're like, "Do you want to be carried? Do you want to get on my back?"
Yes.
Div gently put Short Rib on their back, like supporting
knocked
them.
Out. Immediately asleep.
Okay. For Short Rib, like it's mad early.
It's earlier than early. The sun hasn't even risen yet. It's closer to like a late party night. Mm-hmm. Like if it were Earth, let's say 4 a.m. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like 3:30, 4 a.m. Mm-hmm. That type of time. No, mm-hmm. Short Rib is gone.
I've
Dr.
rolled.
Bleak, what'd you get?
Oh yeah,
sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay, I just wanted to check. Are you rolling an intelligence or space vehicle handling check?
No, I don't care about a ship.
Okay, cool. So, Pet and Div, that makes sense. It makes perfect sense. You two actually know a lot about this ship. Pet, you know a smidge more. Y'all both know the stats of this ship. Anybody who knows anything about spacing, like living on ships, being on ships, especially deep space exploration ships, the Leviathan is what people drool over. This is beyond a Maserati. This is the Bugatti of spaceships. It's extremely expensive, and because of that, it's also extremely fast, especially for its size. Pet, with that in mind, you would be able to know that it'll take you around maybe 4 hours to get to a completely different part of incorporated IOC space. This is a trip that would normally take between 9 and 10 hours. Y'all are, you said fuck a hyperlane? We're going hyper speed. This ship is ridiculously fast. So that's just a little bit that you guys know. Are you heading onto the ship now?
Can I look to Div and just tap my head?
I use telepathy. What's up?
I can't answer back to you.
Right, you can't.
Don't you have detect thoughts?
I do have detect thoughts. Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and use that because I get that per long rest.
You want to use it right now, or do you want to save it though?
No, I'm good. I can use it twice.
Okay.
Because if I use it again, I'll have to use a spell slot, but I can use it without a spell slot per long rest.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm just gonna let you just do my surface thoughts.
Okay.
And all you hear in Pet's head right now, we need the ship. We need to take the ship.
Obviously.
We need to take the ship.
Obviously.
This is ours.
With us knowing like the ins and outs of this ship, DM, is it safe to say like we know how it runs, like we know how to control it, like we know like emergency exits?
Yeah, I would say Pet especially, you would know that. You spent a lot of time in, around, and fucking with ships from the rooter to the tutor. You know everything about ships, right? So with that in mind, you have come across infographics about the Leviathan, and you know the basic layout of the ship. It's kind of like knowing about Air Force One or something. You can guess what the layout of the ship will be based on what sort of ship it is. So yeah, that kind of thinking.
The only thing that slips though in his mind while Dib is listening is ambition would love this ship, and it goes back into the mindset of, oh, I want this ship, I need this ship, and over and over.
Ambition. Div thinks on it for a moment, but they're like, I'll save that mouse tool for later. Right now isn't the time where we have to like be in game mode. Yeah, like I'm putting a pin in that. Div will say like via telepathy, I already have a couple of thoughts on how we can do this, but let's see how what the summit is hidden for. And I think, as you know, once it's in the hangar, wherever we'll be at, we can set some precautions. And I think Short Rib actually will be really useful in that. We gotta get the kid on the up and up with ships. Like we gotta. It's gonna be like a fast class for this kid.
It's just nodding over and over. Not saying anything, but just nodding.
With that, Div nods to the ambassador and like looks at everybody to make sure like everybody's good to go. Looks at the dock. Knows Pet is ready. Short Rib is asleep.
Check my bag. I think Short Rib did like some cursory packing, but I feel like they just like grabbed what looked important and like snacks.
Packed very much like a child. I need this toy and this toy and this pair of socks, and I also want gummy bears.
I just make sure Short Rib has their communicator. Like whatever else they packed, whatever, keep it.
So y'all all have your weapons and all of your equipment, and you guys are able to. Are y'all getting on the ship now? I just want to be sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting on.
Yeah.
Cool. So y'all hop aboard the ship, and you see the representatives are sort of loosely surrounded by the peace officers and the juggernauts. Very loose formation, just casual as they're boarding the ship. And you see the juggernauts not paying you a lick of attention. They are, as far as they can tell, you guys are security personnel. That's what you were hired for. That's how they're treating you. Like just another one of them. And in the time it takes you to reach your destination, you see the ramp, like it closes behind y'all. The ship ascends up and out of the hangar bay and begins, like, I mean, screaming through space, just ripping ass, like going places. and you guys are off to Nubecula 15, the capital of the Lagoon Rift. It's about 4.5 hours away, so it takes a while for you to reach your destination, and in your time on the ship, you're able to get breakfast and rest. There are rooms on the ship for you to just like sleep or fuck around or whatever it is you choose to do. But there are also an abundance of peace officers on board, so they are treating you like security personnel, but they also know your orders. So your orders are the same as their orders: protect the representatives. And so that is what you were tasked with doing, and that's how they're treating it. So there isn't really much to do aboard the ship. As a matter of fact, let me show you the ship. So this is the Leviathan. There are consoles all over the place for navigation, communication, peace officers, and juggernauts all over the fucking place. The representatives, you see, they get taken to a separate suite or a separate wing of the ship. And there are juggernauts stationed outside of that hallway to sort of, this is repeating, to sort of keep people who are not supposed to be in there out of there. There isn't a ton to do except wait and rest. For what it's worth, if you like expended a spell slot or something like that within this short rest, you would probably get that one back. If you took damage or something like that, you could roll a hit die or something like that, because there's really not a ton to do aboard the ship. It's just, for what it's worth, it's like a cruise liner with no Lido deck. It's utilitarian.
Yeah.
I think Mozaeya will try and get into the representatives wing though.
Okay. So how are you trying to get in? What is your...
Like walking like to the wing.
So you
said there went like a separate wing?
Yeah, there is a separate wing, and it's guarded by juggernauts. So are you trying to be stealthy or...
No, it's just
walking through? Okay, cool. So as you walk up, the juggernauts sort of like cross their gravity hammers in front of your path, and one of them says, "Hey, what are you doing? The representatives didn't send for you."
Valnor the next, I believe.
Valtor. I knew they didn't send for you. What are you doing?
Well, I didn't quite catch his name. I was mainly going over different protection protocols, and I was talking to him about how his, we'll say, extracurricular activities might be something of a security risk. He said he would be more than happy to discuss them with me in private, so, I mean, I'm not...
Give me a deception check with disadvantage.
Got you. Right, 28.
With disadvantage, it's a 28. What was the other one?
I have advantage because of the actor feat.
So that makes it straight.
Okay. Yep, it's the straightest.
Oh,
as straight as Mozaeya is not.
Okay. So the juggernauts kind of look at one another, and then one of them radios the representatives, and you hear like talking, and he goes like, he leans over to the side and he's like, "She said extracurricular activities, sir. I don't know what you mean." Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, all right. And you see
I bend him over and I spread the...
Yo.
Sir.
So you see the one juggernaut that clearly just got yelled at sort of moves the gravity hammers and says, "Okay, as you will," and like lets you walk down the hallway.
Cool. Mozaeya's just gonna try and go over towards the representatives.
So which one in particular? There are different rooms in this wing. Like there's different, like you know how you guys have different suites?
I'm looking for a label that says Valtor.
Give me a perception check.
The greatest.
We'll see what you can see, because I don't know if there's labels. Let's roll. Mm-hmm.
Oh, not bad. 20.
Yeah, that'll do. Yes, there are labels. It's like see, it's like a green room at the back of a theater or whatever the fuck.
Got you.
It's set up like that. There are temporary labels. Well, not temporary. They're on there, but there are labels on the door. And the one further up and to the left, that's Valtor, the next room.
Bet. I'll just give it a quick 3 knocks.
So it takes a second, but you hear this sort of sliding, slippery, squishy kind of noise coming from underneath the door. And you see the door sort of slides open, and there is this incredibly tall, incredibly bulbous, gelatinous plasmoid. Mm-hmm. And let me put him on the board.
We're gonna get the
bulbous
first.
Indeed.
We're gonna do our first roll for thickness.
Bulby for president type vibes.
There you are. So that is Valtor the next. And you see, like, there is something about Valtor the next that seems to constantly be undulating, as though his gel is not steady for some reason. And it's giving very much slug, like he moves like a slug. He's not bipedal like the plasmoids that you've seen before this point. So you see this plasmoid sort of arches down and looks at you and says, "Yes, what can I do for you?"
I've been meaning to speak with you, or at least one of you. There appeared to be a couple errors on the dossiers that you sent over. It seems, and she's like taking out her communicator. It seems a good number of it was redacted. I was wondering if we could have the rest.
Valtor sort of slides back into his room. He doesn't gesture for you to follow, but you're welcome to. And the door slides shut behind you, and he goes, "Redacted means none of your business, Miss Missy. Why would I do that?"
Because me and my companions have been hired for your protection, and that means more than just waiting until something goes wrong. It means preemptively presenting things that can go wrong. In order to do that, we need to have a intimate knowledge of your behaviors and day-to-day activities, and, well, I would like to know all of you intimately.
You see Valtor straight up starts laughing, and he says, "You, to my knowledge, are a bunch of criminals who got lucky. That information is redacted for our protection. The information that you need to know was presented to you. More than I said was fair as far as I'm concerned. But no one ever listens to old Valtor until it's too late."
DM, if I'm remembering correctly, Valtor is the one who got this, like, from their father and, like, is not interested in this at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mozaeya will just kind of nod at that. Have you read my dossier?
Let's see if he has. Call high or low.
Hi.
Hi.
Heart of the cards.
Valtor says, "I glanced. From what I can tell, or what I remember, it was a good night. It was a good week." And he kind of like, you see him slide over to like a mini fridge sort of situation and pull out something that looks like a giant kiwi if it was blue. Like, it's got the fuzzy skin and it's about the size of like a really large grapefruit. And you see his pod sort of, he shoves it into his belly and it begins to dissolve. And he goes, yeah, that's good, and closes the fridge. And he goes, I think you're a doctor of some kind. Do you work on, I don't know, animals by chance?
Sometimes. More often than I'd like.
Oh, that's interesting. I like animals. Wanted to be a zoologist, but no, I had to go represent the country.
I was a paleontologist for a little bit.
Really? And you see Valtor actually kind of curls up on himself, turns more spherical, which you understand to be him sitting down. And you still see that blue kiwi-esque thing like dissolving in his stomach, and he's still like smacking as though he's eating something. And he goes, yeah, well, tell me every little thing about that, Doctor. What's your name again?
So just kind of blink. Dr. Bleak.
Dr. Bleak, that's right. Oh, a paleontologist. As you're spinning this yarn to Valtor the Next, give me a persuasion check or a performance check with advantage.
Cross your fingers, heart of the cards. We're not proficient in performance. We'll do persuasion. 26. I missed you, Dr. Bleak. Fuck.
So, as you're spinning this yarn, what are you saying to Valtor?
Basically all the bullshit that went down on Mappa 66. It's just like, oh yes, we worked like really closely with animals there for like this little fun thing, and just trying to like gas up the party and their wonderful, amazing nature studying abilities.
Are you gonna talk about the strangling members?
No, we'll skip that part. We'll talk about all the interesting plants and animals we see. I'll be like, and actually one of our party members does seem to have an innate connection to animals and nature. They would probably be even more useful than me. All this to say, Mr. the Next.
Just call me Valtor, it's fine. The Next is my father, as far as I'm concerned. Maddie, old man.
Then, Valtor, all this to say, I am not a criminal who got lucky. It's my job to keep the criminals who got lucky in a state of protectiveness of you, which means that the better I know you all, the better I can endear them to you and your, I'm sure, wonderful council of individuals, the same way that you find yourself endeared by the stories of criminals who got lucky. I'm very good at what I do, and the more help that you and your council can offer in the form of transparency, the better.
And you rolled a 26.
26.
Valtor, you see the fruit in Valtor's stomach has finally dissolved. And like all plasmoids, Valtor flashes colors when he's feeling something strongly. And you see him flash purple and raise like a tiny itty bitty but very bulbous spherical pod and sort of rub what you understand to be the bottom of his face, even though he doesn't really have a face, in thought. And he like straightens up out of that more spherical form and sort of slides over to a desk And he says, since you love nature as much as I do, I'll let you in on the secret, okay? But you can't tell the others that you know. I wasn't supposed to give you information. You were supposed to stop us from dying, and that was that. But I see you have a point, and you've got a good head on your shoulders, at least as far as I can tell. So, come take a look at my dossier, and I'll show you what we're working on for this summit.
And Mozaeya will just kind of walk over.
So what you see is the exact same dossier. Nothing is redacted, right? You still get the same amounts of information about who is going to be there. You still know that Calpurnius the Major will be there, the representatives of the co-op, the Confederation, and the cavalry will be there, as well as you guys and the 4 representatives. So you know that much already. What was not redacted, I will ask really, really quickly, just a small little intelligence check to see how well you understand government legalese.
This is where it all crumbles.
Not at all. I'll give it to you with advantage. Valtor the next will give you the help action.
Delightful. That's a 12.
A 12? Okay. So that's better than a not 12, trust. So with the 12, it's all a lot of bullshit, right? Like, government officials love to couch their bullshit in a bunch of superfluous $5 words for the sake of making themselves feel important and correct and confusing the population. That much is true in this document as well. However, you, with Valtor's help, are able to glean the basic gist of the summit. The summit is going to be showcasing new technology. Now, Jarabingen has not submitted anything to the technological portion of this summit, but you do see information about a thing called the NEX prototype, NEX. And that is being submitted by Voss Barlow, the representative of the Confederation. You also see that the General Cleric, worked really closely with Voss Barlow, as well as someone else. You don't know the name of the scientist, in order to form the next prototype. And
is there like a name not written down, or
no? It just refers to them as the scientist.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. So, and Valtor sort of looks over at you and flashes like a gray color, which is interesting because in his more bulbous form, he's got like sheens of blue in, but when he goes gray, he looks almost transparent. And he goes, "It's all really boring techie bullshit. Listen, if it doesn't involve food, I really can't be bothered to give a shit, to be honest. But I'm supposed to be here to make big decisions for myself and the rest of my family and my sector. So it's okay. As long, I guess as long as you're there, I'll have a friend. And maybe it won't be so boring this time. You know, these summits are so tedious. They all talk a lot of big words, and there's never enough donuts."
I completely understand and completely agree. You will always have a friend as long as I'm there. Now, I need to get back before my team gets suspicious, but thank you for this show of trust.
Of course.
And they will kind of give a little curtsy with the lab coat and head out of the room.
Okay, that works. So as you sort of leave the room, you see Valtor become that more spherical shape again as he like sits in front of the fridge, shoving like these blue fruits into his stomach, and you hear him go, "Man, that's good," just as the door closes behind you. Is there anything Short Rib or Div would like to do? I know Short Rib is asleep, but is there anything you wanted to do? Because we have like 4 hours.
I think at some point Short Rib is probably going to find their way to like a bed, mainly because something tells me that they'd be like not thrashing in Div's arms, but kind of like definitely like getting too comfortable. So assumedly I would be either put down or like be like, all right, I'm gonna go find somewhere to sleep for real and sleep for real. But then, you know, this is a fucking Bugatti, baby. I want to put little fingerprints on it. So let me see. What do I have on me? I've got my communicator. I've got my Build-A-Glorbeck /gun. And I've got like loose gummy bears. Can I find I just want to like talk to somebody that I'm not supposed to. I think Short Rib will probably like, so I have no, I'm actually gonna keep that. I think I just want to wander around like near the room that I end up in and just kind of like start like seeing if I could find something I can draw on.
Give me a perception check.
Sick. Perception 8.
8. So
these gummy bears are so good.
They are, and this ship is the highest quality of craftsmanship. This is a ship built for speed and for luxury. It's not necessarily as fun as, say, Astra's ship or any of the other ships that you've been on. There's not really a lot of things to draw on or draw with here. There's just consoles and juggernauts and peace officers all over the place, sort of running the ship and making sure things go as they should. With an 8 perception, though, I will tell you what you smell.
Okay.
Because it permeates the ship. There is a cafeteria on board the Leviathan. So you can smell all kinds of different delicacies being prepared in the kitchen. And as you sort of make your way through the ship, you hear in the kitchen people sort of clomping around and gathering like plates and bowls and spoons and knives and all that extra shit so that they can eat. And you smell something really yummy.
I smell what the rock is cooking. Yeah, I think I'm
gonna smell what the rock is cooking. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna hit that the fuck up, actually. I think I'm gonna put in the group chat. I want to text my mommy, and I want to tell my mommy that I'm on the Leviathan, but I spell it very wrong and a lot. So I'm like, eye emoji, hand emoji, bird emoji. Hi, send that. And I go, I'm on a big ship. Send. Leviathan. Send. Calibodin. Send. Like, and then send. And then I send a voice note and I go, do you know a Leviathan? Do you know? And then I send a message to the team group chat and I'm like, hand emoji, bird emoji. I'm gonna get some food.
Let's see if you get a response.
And then you look down and I'm not there.
Text back. Bring me some too.
Short Rib sits back like a big
You do not get a response from Big Ma.
Oh, boo. Okay.
You rolled in that one.
Oh, okay. Valid. Okay. Also, I love you. And then I send to the group chat, okay, you didn't specify what you want, so I'm just gonna bring you something. So I go down to the cafeteria and I try to see what I can eat and shove into my Glorbeck and maybe ask for some help, see what I can see.
So I will tell you, finally, I get to use this.
Oh, God.
I will tell you what you find.
Mm-hmm.
So there are 3 meals that are being prepared in bulk, en masse, for the people on this ship. There is something called natural, in quotation marks, natural Volzon noodles. There is also gravy-soaked glanu puffs and fresh Ulcer steak kebabs. That was what you smelled, was the steak kebabs. Now, all of these foods give you advantages on like, they give you mechanical benefits, right?
Okay.
I will throw these in chat, and you tell me what you go for.
Okay. Because I think immediately, short rib personally is like perpetually sticky. So I think smells the kebabs is like, okay, I could probably fit those in my bag and bring those back, and that'll be good for pet, and then they'll eat it and they'll like it. But I think short rib heard gravy soaked anything, and it was like, gravy. Not aware of like the being drawn to like the most spillable option. So how does this work then? Do they have to like hold a tray full of food? Would you make that mistake? Do you want short rib to hold a tray of food and then walk with it anywhere?
I mean, it depends on what you get. That determines how it's packaged, right? The thing is that this food is made to be eaten on the go, because you've seen, like, as you were coming to the kitchen, you saw different juggernauts and peace officers walking around with little, like, the equivalent of a cup noodle.
Okay.
Like they have like the equivalent of a cup noodle or something on a stick.
Right.
There's not really, or like a little bowl or something. There's not really
a bowl, yes,
like
good.
Plates or trays or anything that you need to carry. Not in that way.
Excellent.
It's like holding a cup of something.
Okay, so boom, short rib goes up to like the kebab station, and is like, I need enough of these for like 5 of my friends, and can you put them in here? And I don't know how tall this like the level for the thing is, so I hope you just see, like, you hear a tiny voice and you see like a Glarbeck bag just being held up just barely over the thing.
So what you see like a chef, like a tall chef, is an astral elf, very tall, like 7 feet, and you hear your little voice coming from below the counter because you are 2 feet on your best day. So the person looks around, does not see you at all, and then you lift the Glar back up just to the side of the counter, and it just peeks over, and you see them go, ah! What the fuck is that? And then they finally look down and see you.
Could you put some kebabs in my bag? I have a family to feed.
The chef fully cracks up at that and says, a family to feed. Okay. Damn, this day is weird. And like goes to scoop up enough kebabs to bring you over some.
You think I'm joking and that's messed up, but okay. What if I really had a family? They smell good.
Now, they are. Trust me, they're delicious. And you see the chef kind of like gives you a look and like gets 2 like cup noodle looking things, and they have tops on them, right? So it's like a cup noodle with a lid on it. And he puts 2 hefty cup noodle size things in your bag as well. And
with
he says,
the kebabs?
Yeah, with the kebabs. He says, for your family. and lets you, do as you please.
Short Rib is weighed down so intently by these things, so he just kind of like lets it kind of like the weight of it kind of fall to the floor, like with his hand, so it's not like he's dropping it, he's just kind of like kind of weighed down, you know what I mean? And he goes, thank you. And he looks through it and he goes, you got any sauces?
The chef says, I've got extra gravy for those puffs if you'd like them. And I've also got more broth for the noodles. You think your family will want that? Do you need napkins and silverware?
Yeah. Just load them up. Just load me up. Give me whatever you got. I can handle it. I'm a strong. I'm a bad man. I got it.
The chef stifles a laugh, but goes to get you your sauces.
You keep
and
laughing at me.
Your silverware. You keep being funny, little one.
How long have you been a chef? Just while he's loading stuff. Do you like being a chef? Is that your name?
I like to cook. My name is Chef. Yeah, it's Chef Divine.
Chef Divine? Hi, Chef Divine. You said your
What's
name
your
was
name?
weird. My name's Short Rib.
Short Rib?
Short Rib. Yeah, Short Rib.
Like
is that
the food.
Okay with you?
It is. It's very okay with me.
Okay.
I think that's a lovely name.
Thank you.
I always like short ribs.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the best one.
Have to agree, kid. And you see him zip up your Glarbek so that way everything is in there and packaged safely. He put everything in a bag and tied it up all nice. It's like getting takeout or something.
Sick.
But yeah, he loads you down. You've got plenty of food. And you see people coming through and just picking up what they want. The food is free. It's like getting continental breakfast at a hotel. Totally free. So you, what is that? Yeah, you are loaded down.
Cool. What's your chroma tag?
Chroma tag? Huh. And he points down at a tip jar that has a chroma tag for him on it. It says Chromeo Chef Divine 12.
I chroma tag him 100 credits. I like your hat. It says in the caption, I like your hat, and then a little hat emoji.
You see the chef hears the ding go off on his phone and raises a brow at you and goes, gee, thanks, man. Good looks.
Just don't, just next time someone comes up and tells you they have a family, just be cool, okay? You don't have to laugh.
Sure thing, man.
Okay. And then Short just struggles with this bag.
You're sort of walking past, you hear him whistle, he goes, whoo, and goes back to what he was doing.
Yeah, so Short just kind of, I don't know how heavy this bag is at this point, but I feel like he attempts to fly.
I mean, you're a big, strong boy. You can handle it.
Okay, good. So yeah, he puts it puts the little straps on his back and kind of tightens them to the best of his little ability, and he just fucking takes off.
And as you're flying away with all of your food, Div, was there anything you wanted to do before we make it to the summit?
I think where would Div be on the ship right now? Probably looking at the guts of the ship. I think they're interested in that. I think they're wanting to look at the core of the ship, see what the inner workings are like.
From you, I will get, I'm going to call it survival, but we're going to flavor it as navigation, right? This ship is huge. So we're going to get a survival check from you to see how well you navigate down to the inner workings of this ship where no one is supposed to go.
Okay. Oh man, I almost said, can Squiggles help me out?
Close, but no. That's the first time I've said no to this question. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. I rolled an 8.
With an 8, you run into a locker room. You see, like, this ship is built for deep space exploration, so it has a lot of shit on it. And it has, like, a home gym, a little tinkerer's workshop, all kinds of stuff. And you wander into a locker room right off the side of the downstairs gym, and you see juggernauts sort of loitering around the gym and like training with their force hammers against like dummies, basically, like little like sword fighting dummies, but for gravity hammers.
Do I see any spare uniforms around?
Give me a perception check.
Oh,
Let me roll and see if there are any.
I gotta.
You see one. It is like you hear like a shower going inside of the locker room as you're walking past. You hear a shower going, and you hear like the heavy thunking of metal as this thing is being taken off. These suits are heavy. And you hear somebody like closing like a locker and like putting in a code and then like heading into the shower. So you know that there is one spare uniform. It's in a locker, but it is there.
Could I try to break into this locker quietly and just take like I want the back of the uniform. I want the jetpack I want the jetpack. So can I just take that?
Well, the jetpacks are attached to the uniform. So to get the jetpack,
is it like a torso piece, a leg piece,
yeah.
and like
it's a torso piece.
I just want the torso
bars.
piece. I just want the piece with the
Okay, let's get a stealth check and then a sleight of hand check at disadvantage. The stealth check is flat. Sleight of hand is disadvantage.
Okay. All right. Okay. Stealth is a 23.
Super duper stealthy. No one sees you coming, brother.
Okay. And this is a disadvantage for this sleight of hand. There's no way I can make that. I don't have shit to make it straight. Let me see. Do I have any spells? Nope. All right. Heart of the dice. Okay, 12.
Okay. This is what happens. As you walk, like you sneak into this locker room, like quiet as you please, which is interesting considering that you have like, you're made of metal. But the cool thing is you're on skates, so you can just sort of slide on in and nobody is the wiser. The juggernauts are sort of preoccupied with their training, and the one that's in the shower is preoccupied with washing his ass, hopefully. So you see that one of the lockers has like a red like light on it. All the rest of them are green, showing that they're open and available. The one that has a red light on it, you see has a little keypad, and underneath that's where you see like a manual lock. But that's what you go for, is the manual lock, to try and override the electronic one. And that you are able to sort of jimmy a little bit, and like you get like, it's kind of like a combination lock. If you get like the first two right, but you get the third one wrong, you know how you can feel it give just a little bit, but not enough to pop open? it's that type of situation.
Okay, so I do have built for success, which I could add a D4 to this roll. Okay. Will that be? It may. Okay, I'll do it. Fuck it. I'll do it.
You're welcome to try it and find out.
Right, I'll do it. Fuck it. Okay, I got a 14.
14. The 14 does not give you more leverage. But with yeah, it doesn't give you more leverage, unfortunately.
Okay. Div's like, well, that's all right. Let me get the fuck out of here. This is not where I wanted to be anyway. I think they just look for the nearest exit and they take it. And knowing that it's a place that that nobody's supposed to be at, they're not gonna ask anybody. So I think Div will probably just retire to like, if there's like some kind of I guess almost like a library situation, like a place where like they could like sit. Yeah, I think they'd go there to kind of go over like their documents, like the documents they found on themselves again.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are able to find a place. There are places down here that are quieter, like little computer rooms, basically, where people can sort of access the arcane network and do their business, whatever that happens to be. And there are little sitting areas around here, little nooks and crannies where you can find some privacy. And you said you're trying to access your documents, correct? Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely doing it in one of like a little private nook, like the privatest I can find.
Yeah, got you. So, and there's nobody in here anyway. These juggernauts are meatheads. They're not like the most intellectually inclined people. So this place is crickets because, you know, everybody else has their own libraries. This one is for public use. So you hide away, you find a little nook, and you can give me either intelligence or arcana, up to you, and you can do so with advantage.
I'll do arcana.
And then let me know what you're trying to understand from these documents.
Okay, I'll do arcana.
Okay.
And I know last time they found out. They found out that he was working with the IOC for a long time, taking grants, but was also a supporter of the cavalry. The research he was doing was to aid the leader of the cavalry the best opportunity to build up their coffers of strength. But what was the research exactly? Like, was that Div or was that some other shit?
Okay. Go ahead and roll your arcana check with advantage for me.
Okay. 13.
13. Okay, so as before, the doctor's documents are haphazardly organized at very best. Mm-hmm. And he writes in a very interesting fashion that doesn't necessarily make sense. It's like the doctor's own legalese. But what you gather with a 13, you are able to glean that you are not the first. You are the first successful. Right. The doctor was trying to magically create black holes that served a specific purpose. So he was trying to create black holes that would not eliminate, but would rather revitalize these planets. And in order to do that, he needed to figure out how to harness that power in the first place. Because what he's harvesting is just raw fucking arcane, raw magic that happens to float around the astral sea, especially at the far reaches. Mm-hmm. So the doctor did figure out how to harness that power, clearly, because it's within you, right? But in the project itself, your name is an acronym. It's DIV, not div necessarily. It's DIV.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that this project, based on these documents, the desire to harness, create, control an arcane black hole and house it inside of an autonome for the purpose of like revitalizing these planets, that project is called the Dynamic Interstellar Vitalization Project. That was the DIV initiative. That's what it's called.
Well, I don't think like div is never like it makes sense, right? That there would be multiple tests, multiple prototypes. But I guess to learn that they were like the first successful one, they're like, well, that means the others clearly didn't make it. So it's a weird, I guess, kind of, it's like, why am I humanizing this? You know what I mean? But I don't know. I think Div has like conflicting emotions in learning that.
That's fair. That's very fair.
Really interesting stuff.
So you all make your way. Was there anything else anyone else wanted to do? Did you guys? I know Dr. Bleak, you said you were looking for Div. Is that correct?
Yeah, just for a short little convo.
Okay. Are y'all going to try and converge, or did you want to stay in your more separate areas? It's up to you.
I was like, text the group chat, like, where are you, Div?
I wonder, does Div answer? I think Div will answer, and they say, at the library, why?
Heading there now, and then I'll head there.
I knew I shouldn't have said it so.
For you, Dr. Bleak, I will give you, I will have you make the same check, a survival check, for the sake of navigation purposes. But because you had like some time with Valtor the Next, you were able to sort of like see inside of his room, and there are like maps of the ship and stuff in there. For his uses. So we'll give that to you with advantage.
Awesome. That's delightful because that's a 19 instead of a 12.
Beautiful. Okay. So you are definitely able to find the library. It's down further and away. And when you first walk in, it looks empty because, like I said, Div is tucked away in a little nook somewhere. So as you sort of wander around the space, I'm sure you're able to find Dave and y'all converge.
Div like puts away their communicator and like closes documents. Like turns to look up at Doc. What's up?
I assume you know a decent amount about tech?
A little bit. Better if it's pertaining to me, but
I think the Doc will kind of like sit with that for a second. And then they'll run for a second. They should have gone to Short Rib because Short Rib got them that money and knows computers better.
I think they will actually say like the kid is probably the best bet for tech stuff.
The gravy is dripping onto Short Rib's back as y'all are talking.
I was kind of like look around. Are there any like cameras in the library?
Give me a perception check.
The fuck? What is Doc? What are you doing?
17.
No, there are none.
But I think Doc will just kind of like sigh. Have you heard of anything called the Nex prototype?
Have I heard of that, DM?
No. I was gonna have you roll for it, but no, you haven't. This is privileged information.
Div, she like kind of shakes their head. I'm like, no, that doesn't ring a bell at all. What is it?
I visited Valtor the Next, charmed him a little bit. He gave me a look at some unredacted versions of the dossier. Apparently, a big portion of this meeting is a technological showcase of some sorts, and the big thing that the Confederation is revealing is something called the next prototype. Apparently, General Cleric and someone referred to as the Scientist helped out with it.
Oh, wait. Didn't I pause for a moment, running to check my notes? Wasn't Doc working with the General Cleric?
The doctor got communications from a General Cleric.
Yes, I found it. There was notes in the margins from a General Cleric. They're reaching out to the doc, chatting about how this prototype can be used to further the interests of the government, but they never specified what those interests were. And they did request specification on what Div could do to see if they could be tinkered with. So, okay, knowing that. Oh my god, I wish y'all could see Sateen's face. Like they are literally me right fucking now. Yes, like literally fucking registering on the cork board, like fucking yes. I think Div like thinks on that for a moment, and they are debating on whether to share this information with the doc. They understand, like, you know, we're a team and we are in this shit together for real, but they just, something about the doc unsettles Div, and they don't like that. They're like, I don't know. So can I vibe check the doc to see like what type of energy is she bringing with like sharing this information?
Please roll insight, and Doc, if you like, you can roll deception or persuasion. Up to you.
But
I got an 18.
I think similarly to training with Pet, Doc is going to choose to fail this one and just kind of give like a couple short tips to Div on like how to better tell when people are lying. But yeah, in terms of like the vibe check you get from Doc, I think one, sharing this is a show of general trust, trying to be as open and transparent as possible with information, and two, literally just a hope that they know that they are not good with tech, and they know they are not good with legalese and documents, and they're kind of trying to look to Div for that assistance almost in understanding what's going on.
I think with that, Div was like, okay, well, you know, it olive branch type of deal, you know? So Div will share how do they share? Let me think. Div will say, I know the name General Cleric, and I think I know who the scientist is. It's probably Dr. JT, the person who created me. I found communication between General Cleric and the doc about like talking about how this prototype could be used to further the interests of the government, but they didn't say, you know, like what those interests were. And they wanted, actually, I think that's all I remember. And they won't share the rest that they know.
I think Doc will just kind of like give you a long look and then nod. Could this prototype be something like you then?
It's possible. It's entirely possible.
All right.
So as the two of you sort of confer over this shared information, this commonality between the information you two have, you feel the ship itself. Let me ask this before we get to the Citadel. Short Rib, are you actually eating the food? And are you actually bringing back food for other people?
Lord, the plan was to absolutely converge. So I think Short Rib like sees that 2 people are going to be in the library. It's like, cool, fucking eat food, buy a bunch of things I could get dirty. Sounds good.
Yeah.
And heads to where y'all are. So assumedly, potentially while y'all are talking, Short Rib just appears.
When Short Rib appears, definitely shoots a text out to Pet, like, join us in the library, homie.
And just says on it.
So
I don't even know what the library is.
Y'all, I'm sure, can give each other directions at this point. So I'm not gonna even have you guys roll for it because you have a group chat. So you guys are able to converge in the library, and it is just the 4 of y'all in here. No cameras, no nonsense, none of that. And yeah, y'all have converged in the library.
Cool. Short Rib starts like clearly struggling, trying to put this bag on the table.
Can I help?
And it's like, I got y'all food.
So the food that y'all have, if you choose to eat it, let me know which one you eat, and I'll tell you which mechanical benefits you get.
Short Rib eats all of it. Short Rib absolutely eats some of all of it.
I mean, even if you eat all of it, you're only getting 1 mechanical benefit.
No, I know. I'm just letting you know.
Well, okay. Which one is your favorite of the 3?
The gravy.
The gravy soaked Glanu puffs?
Yeah.
Is any of this vegetarian or plant-based? Any of it, or no?
I will say that the steak kebabs are. Those are plant-based.
That's what I was gonna get. Yoink.
Okay, so you got the steak kebabs. Short Rib, you have the Glanu puffs. Dr. Bleak and Div, are you guys eating anything or no?
I'll have the gravy things.
The gravy things?
Div,
Yeah, the gravy thing.
Usually doesn't eat.
Oh yeah, that's true. That is true.
Do you have like data chips for Androids with the taste on it?
It comes with like the Happy Meal. It comes with the chips.
Yeah,
so you
it comes with
sensation.
So whichever one that you want, you can just like smash it against your face, and you can have the mechanical benefits, I guess.
I'll go for the noodles then.
Get high off those noodles.
Sherry peeps this, and it's like, can I help?
No. Your hands are guilty. Your hands are filthy.
An already dirty napkin.
Oh my god! Thank you
for you, Div.
I love you.
The Vulzon noodles give you advantage on charisma checks for 1 hour.
Okay.
For you, Dr. Bleak and Short Rib, the Glanu puffs give you a +1 to intelligence checks.
Thank God.
And for you, Pet, the steak kebabs give you a +2 to strength checks for 2 hours.
Period. Absolutely.
For Dr. Bleak and Short Rib, it's for 2 hours as well.
Cool.
Delightful.
What do Doc and Short Rib get?
+1 to intelligence.
+1 to intelligence checks.
And Pet got +2.
+2 to strength checks, yes.
Right. Thank you. Nice. Yummy.
So, y'all have converged. Your bellies are full. What would you guys like to do? We have a couple more minutes here.
Waiting for the
on the
ship. I'll just kind of look towards Div and like tap my forehead.
Wait, can y'all just message each other?
I
Oh, that's true. I'll cast message. Would it be alright if we shared with them the next prototype information? I know that's a bit personal to you, but it's best if we're prepared.
Yeah, no, it's not personal at all. We can absolutely share it. I think Div like probably can't hide that it is deeply personal to them.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna roll insight because that's bullshit. But
it was clearly bullshit. Like, Div, that absolutely cannot hide that it is deeply personal. But they're like, no. One, they're gonna tell Pet anyway, but they know for the sake of this capital TM, everybody should be on the same page. So it was like, take the share.
I'll just share what I learned from the room.
Okay.
So then they consider me a friend now, so that might be a useful in the future.
Is there anything I can do?
I will let you know. You're incredibly useful.
Yes. Keeps eating.
How well do you, like, perceive things?
Me?
Yeah. Short whip.
Tap's eyes. I can fit so much information into these bad boys. I have no idea. What's my perception? I got a big old +1. Wow. Ooh,
damn.
You need somebody to do perception?
Well, I was just curious about Short Rib, and so like knowing that for sure, but they nod and they're like, okay, and they will also say, so you're really good at taking stuff, and I know you see something and you want it and you have to have it, right? But
thank you. Yes.
Let's try something different this time when we're at this really important meeting. Let's do this. If you see something that you want, tell us first, and we'll make a plan to get it. But we can't be sudden with it. We have to think smart and plan it.
Okay. I can, and then they like speak to you telepathically. I can do this. I'll talk to you like this if I see something.
Div responds
or if you see
back,
something,
like telepathically. They're like, "That's totally works. Great idea."
Sure, giggles a little bit. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, can't have Sharp fucking getting caught this somebody trying to steal shit, man. Like,
yes, we can.
That test
We're
session fucked your head up, bro. So you guys enjoy your meal, and you hear an announcement over the sound system of the ship. So over the sound system, you hear, "Now docking at the Celestial Citadel." And you feel the ship begin to hover. And you can tell the difference in like the G-forces in that. You feel the ship begin to hover. And you hear the Juggernauts like talking amongst themselves as they're leaving the gym. The library is a little bit further down than the gym, but they're leaving the gym and heading up and out, all dispersing throughout the ship to surround the representatives again and escort them off of the ship. You see one of the Juggernauts sort of double takes and sees like y'all sort of converging in the library, like smells the food and sees like trails of people, like the movement of people. And you hear them sort of duck inside and go, hey, if you're down here, it's time for us to go.
On our way.
Oh, perfect. See you soon. And he, disappears with the rest of the crowd.
These people are rude.
Very.
I was like, hey, what?
As Mozaeya will just sort of start making her way towards the exit of the ship, take out her little disguise kit and put on a little bit of war paint on the cheeks.
Ooh.
Sure, it smells like crazy.
Right into the danger zone.
Danger zone. So, you guys, the Leviathan descends parallel to a walkway that's at a large, pointed, like triangular cathedral with 7 spires shooting up into the sky. You guys have landed at the Celestial Cathedral on Nubecula 15.
Hell yeah, we fucking did. Absolutely. Absolutely, we did.
Yeah. It's pretty. And you see that you guys are able to, like...
Sorry.
I went shopping today, baby.
I love it. I'm turning shit up.
So you guys, the Leviathan hovers and the ramp allows you out and onto the walkway of this cathedral. It's and the cathedral dwarfs the Leviathan.
What's
by
the name of the cathedral again?
A margin. Celestial Cathedral.
That's exactly what she's giving. Oh my god.
Yeah. And it's you see like a hover tram on one of the walkways that is waiting for you guys to descend out and onto it. And you guys all board the hover tram. And you guys are sort of carried into the straight up elephantine, spectacularly wide and large hallways of the Celestial Cathedral. You see hover trams flying all throughout the sky, going hither and thither, getting up representatives, bringing in people who are privileged enough to come to these summits, including like business personnel and people like that. They are all throughout these hover trams, but yours in specific is bigger than the rest because you are with the representatives of the IOC. And you begin to descend down and into this beautiful cathedral. You see blue glass that is transparent and lets in the light from a massive moon. That's honestly about as bright as the sun is. And you see people sort of milling about, important people who were allowed to be here. And you see another tram that is similar to yours coming through. You see like 2 or 3 of them and dropping down, hitting the ground, descending. And out of this hover tram, you see the sort of amphitheater. And there is a podium at the very center of a circle of seats. Now, you guys, because you are with the representatives, are able to sit down front row of this podium. And it's on top of this mithril dais that has the same blue light sort of coursing through the inside of it. It's honestly not too different from the dais that you are used to standing on, Div, when the doctor would do tests on like your capabilities and range of motion.
Div frowns deeply.
So you see all of these people sort of gathering and settling into place. And the last hover tram comes down behind the podium, and out steps a vanguard of juggernauts, massive juggernauts, bigger than the ones that you guys are surrounded by. These niggas is huge. Gravity hammers at their sides, perfectly in formation. They step out as one and surround Calpurnius the Major. That is who you see before you, the leader of the co-op, the spokesperson for the co-op, the leader of the IOC. The Major stands before you in front of this podium and begins to speak, says, welcome everyone. It's good to see you all. It's good to see all of you. And you hear a roar come up from the crowd behind him, and you hear people shouting, Major, Major. They fucking love this guy. He hasn't even said anything, but they're big fans already. And you see other hover trams descending, and one of them brings out a different representative, and like his entourage, and finally a much smaller hover tram to the left of y'all, descending and letting out not a vanguard of peace officers or juggernauts, but a lone Loxodon woman. And the summit commences. you hear introductions and welcomes and the general courtesies of a summit. The people who are allowed to spectate are told to be quiet. And as the major speaks, you hear a lot of bullshit about how this is supposed to be the thing that brings together the entire incorporated and unincorporated government system. And when he says this, when he says, I'm hoping that this will make all of us feel welcome here, so that we can all finally find real peace. And he looks over at the Loxodon woman that stepped out just a few minutes prior. And it's hard to read her expression, but he continues, looks past her, and continues his ministrations over the crowd, weaving a yarn of unified technological prowess that will benefit everyone in the IOC.
DM, can I try to read her expression in that moment?
Insight check.
Mozaeya's eyes are like not leaving Jara Bingham.
Fuck.
Like trying to memorize every single detail for like sending purposes.
Can I try also?
Got it. Yeah, definitely. Anybody who would like to, please roll insight.
I rolled a 5.
You rolled a 5? Couldn't tell.
Unfortunate.
Is she within 30 feet?
I got a 13.
The spaces between here is not 5 feet. This is purely for ornamentation.
I was assuming. I was like, I'm assuming like cathedral shit, like so.
We'll say no. She's not within 30 feet.
All right.
She's not within 30
just
feet.
cast
She's
straight
like
up cast detect thoughts.
I was thinking of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was the check? It was perception?
Insight.
To see if you can understand Jara's expression. 17. Interestingly
14.
enough, the person who couches it is Short Rib. She is not a fan of the Major. Now, this is not an unusual sentiment to you. You know that there are people who do not like the Calpurnius the Major. It's well known. But
my mama don't like him.
This looks personal for her.
I think
so the disgust on her face now is very pointed. It's not like a general bland sort of, I don't like that guy. No, she fucking hates this nigga.
I think Short Rib like is thinking out loud to, or like telepathically, can I? Oh, any creature I can see within 30 feet. Okay, so yeah, I think I'm just like thinking to the group, just like, she do not like him.
I believe Short Rib.
Ooh.
So
good eye.
The Jara schools her face into something more bland and generally courteous. And Calpurnius continues. He looks over at Jara and says, well, shall we begin? Why don't we start with you, Miss Bingen? And Jara stands to her full height. She's tall, at least 8 feet tall, gorgeous Loxodon. She's got leathery skin at her face and long flapping ears that have piercings all along the side of them.
Work. And
she is wearing a flowing white and green sort of tunic toga situation, ornamented in gold and jade. And she's got like a porcupine quill through her trunk.
Sick.
Like 3 or 4 through her trunk.
That bitch.
That have little ornamentations at the end, like little jingling things. So when she stands, it makes noise. And graceful as ever, she says, now you know well, Calpurnius, that we have little, if anything, to show you. But we are definitely here to see what we can do to help. And we'll accept that with your grace. And she sits back down, crosses one leg over the other, and resumes that same bland expression on her face. And Calpurnius gives her a winning sort of smile and says, "Of course, Jara, no problem. I know it's been a rough year." And he turns to his left. You guys is right. And he gestures out a hand and says, "Well, Voss, what about you, darling? Do you want to give it a try?" And you see a magma dwarf, around a little exactly 5 feet tall. Very tall for a magma dwarf, but he stands at his height and he's got blazing red eyes that seem to scan everyone in the crowd. And he stands forward and he says, "Of course, Calpurnius, we've got plenty to show." And he steps forward with an orc woman that is in full gold armor. And Calpurnius takes a seat.
My wife.
Voss Barlow stands before the podium, and you hear a roar of approval go through the crowd at the very top. The spectators, people love Voss. If anyone who would like to, if you'd like to know who Voss is, feel free to roll a history check, and I'll give you some information about who this nigga is.
Can Short Rib, just use the search engine on their communicator? Can they, sit down in the middle of the crowd and just kind of, pull out their, essentially, iPad and just be like, "All right, I'm going to see what's happening here"?
I mean, we can flavor it. It would still be a history check in this case.
Fair. Extremely fair. Okay.
Yeah.
12.
A 12?
Don't forget you have a +1.
Oh.
To intelligence checks. Keep track of that, because I will not.
Yeah.
13,
So with a +1, I'm up to a 6. So give me everything. Thank you.
We got a 12. We got a 6.
I do have another question. Would I, DM, know anything about Jar Bingham?
History check.
Okay, let me get that one.
Div, with a 14, you probably know the most about Voss Barlow. 18 history on Jara Bingham. Cool. So, Div, you know the most about Voss. Voss Barlow is the head representative of the Confederation Party in the IOC. So the people that you hear roaring and cheering their approval are obviously members of the Confederation.
Mm-hmm.
So Voss is a more conservative figure, focuses on quote unquote family values and shit. And what about the children and stuff like that? And that is the entirety of his platform is loyalty to family, loyalty to the IOC, and keeping a watchful eye for riffraff, as it were. So he's very much a tough on crime person.
So he's a Republican Vin Diesel.
He's the Republican Vin Diesel, yeah. Yeah.
So Vin Diesel.
So Vin Diesel. And no choices. So yes, that is Voss Barlow. With an 18 on Jara Bingham, you know Jara is the spokesperson for the cavalry. she became the representative for the cavalry after the speaker was indisposed. You don't know whether or not the speaker died or was killed or has disappeared or run away. You don't know.
In a bathroom. It's okay.
Possibly. You never know. But all that is known is that they are not here anymore. And Jara was the speaker's second in command. So that is who Jara Bingham is. She is one of the last representatives of the cavalry, period. So
wait, DM question. Do I recognize it? Do I recognize Voss's name in anything else, like any other documents I may have come across? Or even like, have I ever heard like Doc talk about this individual?
Well, give me a history check.
Okay.
Let me see how much the doctor knew.
Come on, please. I got a 10.
Also, DM, with Jara Bingham about my past, would I remember them?
No.
Okay.
Jara is not somebody that you know personally. You know of Jara. And like, it's like a 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon kind of thing. Like, you know people who knew Jara.
Okay.
Or you knew people who knew Jara.
Yeah.
With a 10, the doctor never mentioned Voss Barlow. Outside of knowing politically who Voss Barlow was, like common knowledge type shit, he never mentioned Voss Barlow at all.
Okay, cool.
So the Voss Barlow stands before you and he says, yes, we've got lots to show. We have been working on developing the next big thing in warfare. And you hear silence of the crowd. People are riveted. And he says, I'd love to explain it, but I barely understand it myself. I'll bring up the one who created this damn thing. Come up here, Nebulon. And you see another GIF stand up and walk up the stage, up to the podium next to Voss, like carrying something heavy looking in a white cloth. And Nebulon sets this item down so that it is standing on its own, and you hear a heavy thunk as metal meets metal. And the lights in the mithril dais that the podium is on begin to glow red. And Voss says, I'd like to introduce you all to my good friend here, Nebulon the Luminary. Give him a round of applause, folks. And people do. They clap for this scientist. And Nebulon steps forward and says, yes, well, I'm the one who created Nex with lots of help from Voss and General Cleric. It's been a long, hard road, but we think we may finally have found the secret, the ticket to winning forever. And he pulls this white sheet off of this thing. It is a small... It is small. It's about your size, Div. Maybe 5 inches shorter, somewhere around there.
I have a sibling.
It has a helmet. Huh?
I have a sibling?
You don't know. It does look a startling amount like Div, though. It is rounder and less angular. It's not as sharp and doesn't have as many jagged edges. It's much rounder and more spherical. The goggles on its eyes, or the screen that displays its eyes, have like perforated or like dashed circles of red light shooting out into the crowd. And you see this thing has like smaller claws than you, Dave, but it has the exact same hatch in its stomach. And it has like spikes going down the back of its head, almost like a rooster comb or something like that. But the scientist sort of comes up and does bloop, bloop, does a little flipping of a switch, and on comes this robot. And Nebulon says, yes, this is the next prototype. We call it that because it is an experiment in nullifying opposition and warfare. He goes on to explain that the next prototype, what it next stands for, nullifying exoplanetary xenoform. That is to say, it eliminates any and all opposition to our efforts. It keeps our home ground safe and provides us with a better manufacturing platform. This will help us expand onto other planets to incorporate more wild space into the glorious IOC. After all, isn't that the goal? And he sort of, any questions? And you hear silence from everyone before.
Can I shoot a message to Valtor?
Yeah.
I'll just say, hello, Valtor. It's Mozaeya. Don't think it's my place to ask, but if you feel like it, could you ask what makes this different from any other combat droid across the stars?
Valtor, like, goes rigid for a second, which is weird because Valtor undulates. Like, that's a thing for him. He's not still, but everything stops for a second. And then he, like, goes back to undulating, and he, like, raises a pod and goes, so what makes this droid so special? Don't we have plenty of combat droids? And you see Nebulon step forward and kind of laugh a little.
Pet is like, I think Pet takes off their sunglasses and looks dead at Div, and like, I know he doesn't want to say anything, but he's just like looking back from you. The next Div
elbow Pet so hard.
Are we seeing this?
And I put like,
Pet's like, stop fucking looking, like, no.
Nebulon steps forward and says, of course, Mr. The Next, of course. I can tell you. This particular combat droid has an arcane black hole inside of it. We captured one. We got one. And he goes into this long-winded explanation about how he summoned the arcane from the far reaches and was able to, like, compact it into this sustainable and controllable form called the Nex.
Well, they will hit a little sound record on her communicator at that little explanation, just to...
So, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
How close would you... So you said they're up on the dais, right? Would you say it is within 120 feet.
How long is 120 feet? You guys are front row. It's closer to like 100 feet. Yeah, it is.
Okay. I don't want to control this thing, but I do want to get an idea of like what it has going on. Can I use remote access and like try to telepathically explain to the group what I'm seeing or what I'm like able to touch?
Well, if you do that, it is going to control the droid. That's how remote access works.
Right. Well, I'm not necessarily trying to like use any of the functions, but I just want to see what the functions are. So if I have access to them, I feel like I would be able to, has a range of 120 feet. You can use any electronic device within range as if it were in your hands. This is not a telekinesis effect. Rather, this spell allows you to simulate a device's mechanical functions electronically. You are able to access only functions that a person using the device manually will be able to access. You can use remote access with only one device at a time.
It says use very specifically. It doesn't say observe or something like that.
Well, I mean, I would be,
Because the purpose of this spell is to transmute. It is to do techno magic. It is to use a thing as though you are able to access it already. Right? Like, if you were trying to figure out what the capabilities of this thing is, that wouldn't be a spell that you would be able to use for that effect. That would be like an intelligence check or something like that.
Okay.
That, in my head, that like, because what you're trying to do is like get into the mechanics and understand how this thing functions, but that's not what this spell is for.
What if I child at a piano it and just like run my hand along all the keys? Will that kill people?
You don't know. You don't know how this works.
That's true. Short Rib is like rapid eye twitching and is like, I think I could get inside this thing.
Not yet, I don't think.
Okay. And is like vibrating, wanting desperately. Oh no, telepathically to y'all.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Message cantrips just flying everywhere,
all over the place. So
like,
in that spirit,
is like still paying attention to Div and like looking at Div and not looking at
Mozaeya has not taken her eyes off of the robot yet.
I think, like, at first, Div was freaking out, but upon learning what the core is, Div is quiet. They're not saying anything. I think they are staring ahead, and I think they're like, they're just taking in the four of them, like General Cleric, the Luminary, Voss, and Nex. And the thought that occurs to them is that if they learn, he didn't build this shit. Like, this isn't something of your own invention. You took my specifications and then created this, which means you got this from the doc, which means the doc is either dead or worse. And so that reality is settling into their stomach, and they feel, I think it was like, just, I think a certain aura is coming off of them right now of just being incredibly upset. Like just pure rage, honestly.
Can I just like, are you next to me?
Yeah, I imagine like the lineup is like Doc, Short Rib, Div, Pet.
The way that it is on the board, that's how everybody's situated.
Oh yeah.
You two are right next to each other.
I think Pet immediately puts a hand on Div's like back and just like I don't know if you feel sensation. It's kind of like trying to bring you closer to me. And
I think Div goes definitely.
Let me see.
Hold on. Their shoulders kind of drop a little bit, but they're just still. This is insane.
Yeah. Like, I think the fact that Pet knows.
Yeah.
Your like kind of your mechanics and somebody else controlling it is like mind blowing.
That is a fucking problem. That is a fucking problem. Like,
so the Nebulon does step forward and says to Valtor, if you wanted to see a demonstration, all you had to do was ask. And like runs his hand along the back of the neck's prototype, and the lights in its eyes blink on, and it goes blink, blink, and begins to look around and go, scanning. Ready for input.
Oh, can I hide from that scan? Sorry, is that too late? Like, can I somehow like duck behind somebody to hide from that scan?
Yeah, give me a stealth check. Well, you already are behind Ambassador Sylvanus, so go ahead and do so with advantage.
Thank you.
And I could also hide you behind me too.
Deeply appreciated. 23.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so Pet, the ambassador is giving you cover because, you know, they're taller than you are. And Pet is sort of shielding you from the scan. And so the Nex doesn't perceive you. You have a feeling that it wasn't looking for inorganic life.
Got you.
So it sort of like stands at attention, and the luminary looks at it and says, "That's it, Nex. Why don't you show us your stomach?" And this,
get on my belly.
This droid turns toward Jara and says, "Input received," and pulls open the hatch in its stomach. And I'm gonna need
Mozaeya covers Short Rib's eyes
to please roll initiative.
No, get the fuck out of here!
What's going on?
We need to save our good sis Jara. What the fuck? These niggas are trying to assassinate Jara in front of everybody? Are you kidding me?
It's malfunction, you guys. Let's not jump to conclusions. All right?
I'm stressed out.
Them needed a reason to fucking fly into a rage, and this is exactly what they needed.
We are doing accelerated combat, lads. Let's get some initiative rolls, shall we?
Alex!
Yes, my dear. What can I do for you, my love?
Is this where we're doing the accelerated combat?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Shout out to Connie Chang for accelerated combat.
Shout out to Connie Chang for real. They the GOAT.
Thank you, boo. Thank you, boo.
First up in initiative is Pet.
Oh, man.
Okay, your fight roll was a 13. No, you did not hit.
All right, so it's a miss. Let me see. Okay, I think I'm gonna use the opposition surprises, frightens, or memorizes you. So, because I think Pet is, because I'm thinking of this Pet is ready to take out his weapon, but as he seizes to try to get his thing back, he's still kind of like thinking, is this Div? Is this another version of Div? So he's still trying to figure out, is this something I should shoot out right now? So I think I'm gonna do as I'm trying to take my gun out and everything, I pretty much drop my weapon because I'm still looking at negative and and Div, and I'm like, I do not know, like, I want to attack it, but I think I'm still too surprised about the information I just got a second ago. So that's all that happens to me.
That's your turn. We have Negative's turn. Negative turns to Jara and pulls open the hatch in its belly. And you see a whirlwind, unbelievably loud but silent, a silence that deafens, comes from this droid's belly and begins to pull pieces and bits and bobs of Jara into the vortex. You see one of her porcupine quills pull from her nose and a spurt of blood as it does so. And the next in our initiative is Short Rib.
Okay, so I am going to see something from
we didn't do wound. I'm sorry. We didn't do wound, did we? So we need to do fight and then wound for pet, yes. So your wound roll is a 10 up against my AC, or my DC rather. You are thrashed. You take 5d6 damage.
Damn.
As
Jesus Christ.
As the vortex begins to pull bits of the cathedral into itself, and you hear the spectators going insane, making all kinds of ruckus, stampeding, trying to get out. People are panicked, and you hear Voss laughing at the very back. It's about time, you fucking traitor! And like you hear Jara making an unbelievable ruckus as she is being yanked forward. And one of a stone from the cathedral itself, like a hunk of stone from the walls, comes barreling out of place into this vortex. And as it's going, it hits you in the back of the head. And that's where you get your damage from. Now, next up is Short Rib.
Okay. Seizing something. So what I'm gonna do is now I want to use remote access and close the hatch.
Let me see. You got a 20 on your fight roll. That is a hit. And you said you're trying to see something from the opposition?
Yes, in that I am attempting to seize this advantage. I want to, or seize control of this robot.
I see. Okay. So what are you trying to make the robot do?
Close the hatch and potentially kill Voss if I can manage it, or kill whoever is making this happen.
So you tell me what you want the robot to do, and I'll tell you how it happens.
Okay, so what I want is I want to I want to kind of drop whatever hatch is causing this and use its most it's just because I'm curious. I want to use its second most powerful weapon to kill the people that programmed it to do this. Because there's at the very least, my thought is there would be a line to trace. If there's someone would have to be able to get into it in order to program it to do this thing, right? So there is a line for it to trace, kind of mechanically. Does that make sense?
Well, what you're asking is for a signature on the programming. Mm-hmm. And the signature for all of that would be Nebulon the Luminary. But that is because he is the one who created it. So are you trying to go after Nebulon?
I don't know if I should. I don't know if I should.
Like, that's the signature that you get, but that's because he's the one who created it. It would be like Div would have the doctor's signature in their programming.
Okay,
it's the exact same thing.
So then I will at least close the hatch and try to, like, because I have access to it, I just want to, like, be able to see through its eyes.
Okay, what are you trying to see?
I just want to, like, see, like, what the people around it are doing, like, because Voss, like, set this command, so I want to see if Voss, like, tries to, like, regain control or, like, see what happens, because I want to be able to, like, turn it back on him. Like, if he tries to, like, make it so that it tries to kill Jara again, I want to be able to have that information so I can then kill him with this robot.
Well, what you're trying to do is ready an action. And that, I mean, that's not necessarily like a mechanic that's involved here.
Okay.
You can absolutely shut the hatch. That's not a problem.
Okay.
But if you want to try and attack someone in specific, you have the ability to do that. But I will say that even in seeing through its eyes, you wouldn't need to do that to get that information. You guys have a front row seat to the podium itself. So you can see Barlow, Cleric, and the Luminary all surrounding this droid, this robot.
So then I want to close the hatch and then do something that will, like, disable all three of them. Is that doable?
How would you disable all? Well, it's not a critical hit. So
just something that, like, I want to be able to utilize this robot to, like, potentially disable. If it's the type of robot that can, like, nullify, like, any sort of threat, like, I want it to maybe, like, I don't know if it has some sort of stun function, but I want to be able to assess that so that I can utilize it.
Could you turn, like, the black hole on them?
That is closer to what you would be trying to do.
Okay.
And if you're trying to do that, like, because what you would be trying, if you did it in stages like that, that's more than one action at a time.
That's fair.
So
that's fair.
That would be a little bit too much to mitigate. But if you want to turn turn the droid on those three, then you can.
Okay, that makes far more sense. Then let's do that.
Okay. So what happens is, as you sort of take control of this, you see it jerk a little, like, twitching, and it goes malfunction.
I say hi,
and then
in its head.
It turns on the spot, very smooth, and the hatch is still open, but its influence goes away from Jara and points at Voss and General Cleric.
Sick.
So let's do your wound roll. You rolled an 18.
Mm-hmm.
You take 3d6 damage.
Okay.
As this thing sort of, like, you feel lightning shooting through the currents of this thing's mind, and because you're connected to it, you feel that too. So as it sort of malfunctions and turns toward its creators and progenitors, you now have this sort of psychic shriek in your own head that gives you 3d6 damage.
Okay.
That brings us to Div. What would you like to do? Or what was your... No. I'm so used to saying that. Your fight roll, you hit.
God, I've been thinking this whole time, like, what I wanted to do for Div, and I still could not decide. It's so many people I want to kill right now. Like, seeing the robot turn on those three, Div will shout to the Juggernauts, "Get the ambassadors out of here!" And they will, I imagine, like, Div, like, flies into a rage and I want them to like, because I need Jara alive. I got questions for this bitch. But negative cannot exist. Like next gotta go. Or do they? Like, is it possible to like take next like away from the influence of these three?
Well, you did hit, and seizing something from the opposition is something you could do. So it's up to you. What would you like to do?
Could I free Nex from the influence of its creators?
Explain to me how you would do that, and I'll let you know.
Like, okay, so Div had that experience when they connected with the plants, right? The violets. And I think having had that experience, when they first see Nex, their immediate reaction is to like kill Nex and like get rid of Nex. But then they think that like Nex has been programmed this way. I don't know if Nex is doing this like of its own free will. It's not giving that. And like I was once just something that was programmed until, you know, Whoop Bop the Bam happened. I don't know. I think Div will try to like use their telepathy to connect with Nex in this moment and maybe fucking delete some type, like use their magic to delete some type of code that is keeping like a leash around them.
My immediate instinct was to have you roll something, but that is not how this works. So you hit, so you have the opportunity to seize this. So you tell me how you want to go about this, and I'll tell you how it happens.
I want to like seize the code within Nex that is making them obey people and crush it. I want to like throw it up in flames.
So you see Nex twitches again, begins to jerk in unnatural and unwieldy ways. You see arms spinning in 360 degrees and shoulders jerked up at 45-degree angles as this bit of code is like, you fucking defrag it, like you give it a full clean and eliminate that programming from its system using your own magical ability. And you see Nex go stock still and stops jerking, stops moving, stops everything. And the hatch sort of swings closed and you see it press the hatch into itself so that it's flush again. And it turns to you and says, "Ready for input."
Word.
I know it's not like a thing where we can use movement during this, but can I at least get closer to Jara?
Yeah, definitely. You guys can move as you will. This is pure cinematics at this point. Okay, let's do your wound roll as well.
Cool.
You
21 on my wound roll.
You're 21 on your wound roll. You take 2d6 damage.
Okay.
So you're bumped and bruised. What happened is that in your effort to eliminate this malevolent bit of code, you came across the exact same thing. It's not built to be tampered with. It is built to be programmed. Mm-hmm. So when you snap that hold, that control, you get a little bit of psychic damage as well as lightning courses through this prototype.
Okay.
For 2d6 damage.
Dude, we'll yell at Nex like, come on!
Nex begins to move, begins to follow your voice. Ready for input. And next
I was gonna say the robot says, "Hello, world."
Andas. All right, Dr. Bleak. You hit. Exactly hit.
Holy shit.
Love that. Yes.
Damn. All right. I wasn't expecting to hit. I've in my head right now exactly how Mozaeya fucks up, but
No, you did it.
God damn. All right. Well, shit. Let's see. An awesome stunt. Surprise fight. What is Calpurnius the Major looking like right now, DM?
Calpurnius the Major is impassive. He's not moving. You see his juggernauts have surrounded him entirely, and he's just watching. He's not doing anything.
All right, so a problem for later. I see Nex kind of responding to Div. I see Pet get fucking beamed by some black hole rubble. What's Vaz Barlow doing?
Voss is laughing. He is laughing at Jara. And when you see that when he sees that Nex has been reprogrammed and has had its purpose or focus shifted, I'll do it myself. I fucking can't stand you treasonous bastards anyway. And he is trying to make his way toward Jara.
And Nebulon, how's Nebulon looking in all this? Is Nebulon like all according to plan, or is Nebulon like, what the fuck happened?
Nebulon is like patting at his head with a handkerchief and like talking to the general cleric and saying, what the hell is going on here? This is not what I programmed this damn thing to do. Did you have something to do with this? And so they're going back and forth and having a conversation.
Okay. All right, Vaz Barlow. I think Mozaeya first like would have instinctively, as soon as like the black hole opened, like checked on Short Rib, make sure Short Rib's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Short Rib seems to be doing great. And then upon seeing Vaz Barlow being the main thing, how close can I get to Vaz with my movement?
As close as you'd like.
Awesome.
I'm not tracking y'all's movement. This is all accelerated.
Awesome. I think as soon as like everything goes down, like everything's going into a panic, I think as everyone's like running out, Mozaeya, as soon as the hatch opens, goes full like yellow inside the coat. And then once things start to like turn in our favor, Pet would recognize just like a sheer like red. And then she's just going to like full sprint over towards Vaz, and I would like to mesmerize a foe. And
the fuck?
I would like to just like lunge at this man's head, and the same way that I showed my good friend all those years ago, I would like to show him what I saw and just kind of like absolutely obliterate like his mind, like send him into the shadow realm, essentially. Like mentally just like keep him like disabled and like catatonic almost for the remainder of this fight.
I want to roll dice so bad. You don't even understand. Okay. So he is okay. I'll explain what happens. You see that the Nex is coming towards y'all, is like taking its orders from you, and you guys have the upper hand. Jara is standing and on her feet and looking furious and touching the spot where her porcupine quill was just a few moments ago. And you see her draw her weapon and begin to step forward towards Voss just as you get there. You get there before she does. And your coat flies behind you, deep blood red, undulating in its curves. And you grab Voss's head because he's shorter than you are. And you press your thumbs into his temples. What do you say?
Do not fuck with black holes. You will not like what you see. Let me show you.
And boom, he is transported back to that fishing ship. And back to that horrible shriek. Back to a place he's never known but always, always feared. And you hear him go, ah, 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 as he begins to scream, trying to writhe away from your hands and get away from you. And he is mesmerized. Let's do your
I think
wound
Mozaeya is
roll.
screaming too.
I love that. You take 3d6 damage. And it is also psychic because you are operating from pure unmitigated fury. And something about that allows your inhibitions to lower, allows you to decompartmentalize that space in your mind where that shrieking resides. And as you shriek, as you remember, your scream sounds like a crazed cackle, while Voss Barlow screams in abject horror. So, this is the end of the first round. How are we feeling about our positioning right now? Do we want to do another round?
I think we have the bot. We have Voss. I'm thinking.
But do you want to leave?
I think our crew should get the fuck out of here.
Take
I
Nex
think
and
we
let's
need
go.
to take the Leviathan and Jara and Nex and leave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As you say this, as you come to this conclusion, you see Jara look at you and go, "Let's go. We need to go."
Bye. And she right?
She begins to sprint up towards the hover tram, which is already turned on. Her hover tram is already turned on, and she sees you guys running, waves you over as pandemonium breaks out in the crowd around you. You see Nebula and goes, "Wait, where the hell did they take Nex? They took Nex! They took Nex!" And Voss is screaming bloody fucking murder as he is psychically assaulted with your history. And you see Calpurnius the Major, you see all of his juggernauts are in tight formation. They have their gravity hammers up and out, and they are ready to strike any and everything that comes towards the Major as they rush him forward towards his hover tram. People begin to descend and ascend and leave all over the place as this wildly unprofessional display takes over, finally reaches the people in the very top. And these are all very important people, you see. So they have their own communications and ways out of here. But Jara waves you forward and you see her hover tram begin to ascend. And the five of you and Nex all pile into Jara's hover tram. And she says, "I don't know who you are, but thank you. You saved my life." And the hover tram, you see she's the one piloting it. She lifts it up and shoots it out of the Celestial Cathedral. And you see her ship. The Leviathan is nowhere to be found. It was elsewhere. It was taken elsewhere. It's like valet. But you see her ship is hovering over to a side, hidden behind one of the spires of the cathedral. And she pilots the hover tram there and says, "You may as well get on. We need to get the hell out of here." And immediately goes in and begins doing navigation and communications to her people. And as this happens,
Can I ask
I need
next?
2 rolls. Yeah, ask next whatever you'd like.
Like, do you have a tracker on you? Do you have GPS on you?
Would I be able to see that?
In the time that you were controlling Nex, I think you know the answer is yes.
Mm-hmm. He does.
Can you cut it, Short Rib?
Remote access.
Yeah. I attempt to not only disable it, but like eject it from Nex's body.
You are able to navigate in Nex's controls. You know, beep, beep, boop, boop, and you have Nex like poke out a little, like a tray, and in that tray is a little navigation chip, and you take it and flick it off of the ship just as the ramp closes. So from you, Div, I'm gonna need a Constitution saving throw, please.
You can't have your doppelganger in the same room, baby.
You can breathe, but they are hyperventilating. 16.
Beautiful. So here's what happens. Jara's ship is older than the Leviathan by a good few decades. It's still serviceable as a ship, but it's obviously an older model. And you are panicking. There is no other word to describe it. You are panicking because you are standing smack dab in front of a bastardization of you. An actual negative standing right in front of you with the exact same black hole inside of its stomach as you have in yours. And recognizing like, you feel that turbulent typhoon in your circuitry all over again. And it takes you over and you begin to jerk and jitter and shake in unnatural ways. And Nex kind of cocks its head at you and puts a hand on your shoulder and says, "Ready for input." And this is what helps keep you calm. Because despite being intelligent, Nex is not sapient in the way that you are. Nex is a full tilt robot. The doc imbued you with humanity. The doc gave you consciousness, allowed you to develop that on your own. And that is not a privilege that Nex has been given. So, seeing this bastardization of who you are, what you are able to feel calm for the first time in a very long time. And I need you to give me an insight check real quick. Or perception, it's up to you.
I'll do
or
perception.
Arcana, actually. Yeah,
oh,
it could be any of those.
Depending on the info, depending on the check is what info I get. And you know I love Arcana. But I get a +9 to perception.
Either will work.
I'll do perception. I really want this. 26.
So you begin to feel something unusual, sort of prickling at the back of your neck. It reminds you of the expression having hair stand up on the back of your neck, like your hackles are raised.
Mm-hmm.
And you do a quick scan to see if there is danger. And there is none. Jara has you up, out, and far away from the cathedral at this point. The cathedral. And you guys are coasting up and out of the atmosphere, heading past a hyperlane. And as you do, you feel her flip a switch and there's a cloaking device. So you all are perfectly safe. You got away scot-free with something you definitely shouldn't have. And that knowledge should be what's distressing you right now, but it's not. Because there's a doo-doo that you hear inside your head. And it doesn't seem to be external. And it only happens 4 times. And then goes away.
What the
and
fuck
with
is
a
that?
26 perception, you recognize an old part of your programming. The find div protocol. You just got a ping from the doctor. And that's where we're going to leave it for today. See y'all for season 2.
Yo! Okay! Oh, shit.
Yo! Hey y'all, it's Blue. I play Div, your favorite chaotic android. And if you enjoyed this episode, you can show us some love by writing us a review wherever you're listening to us on. And if you're looking for more BaddieBards because you just love us so much, you can find all our social links in our description. We are here. Bye y'all.